Hi everyone, I'm Vicky and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about money and how I save money in order to afford to be a stay-at-home mum. Now, it is not easy, and although I consider myself a stay-at-home mum, I'm also a work-at-home mum. I do work around my kids to make money. So although I have managed to save, I'm not saving enough that I don't need an income. It's really hard to make ends meet, I think, without two incomes in this day and age. Like, we're very, very fortunate to have a good situation with our house, and you know, like, my husband works. I had a good redundancy payout when I left work mid last year, but there are quite a few things I've been doing in the last few months or so to cut right back on our bills, and actually things I've been doing for the last sort of 4 years since we had kids to cut right back on our bills. So I just thought I'd share those, and then I'd love it to be a bit of a chat in the comments as well. Like, anything that you guys do to save money, I would really love to hear about. So first up, I'm going to talk through my tips, but I'm going to do it while I am colouring my hair because, and there is a point to this, it's one of the biggest ways that I have saved money. On my sort of monthly annual expenses is to stop going to the hairdressers. I haven't been to the hairdressers now in about 2.5 years. Now, I'm not saying I don't need a trim, because I do need a trim, but I used to get highlights done and a cut, and it was costing me like £140 every single time I went, and the roots start to show sort of like within, what, 6 to 8 weeks. So I wasn't going every 6 to 8 weeks, I was more going every 3 months, but it really adds up over the course of the year. And now I just spend £5.80 a go on a box of hair dye. So that is one of my biggest ways that I have saved on a regular basis. So I'd say, like, over the course of the last 2.5 years that I haven't been getting my hair done at the hairdressers, I've probably saved £600 a year. £600 a year, £1,200 for the 2 years. Quite a lot of money. As I said, it's £5.80 a go. You often get them on offer in the supermarket as well, so like 2 for £9 and offers like that. So I haven't really noticed a difference in the colour. I would like to go and get my hair trimmed at some point. I've just been trimming it myself at home, but it's just not a priority, and I've always got other things that I would rather spend the money on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour my hair while I chat through all of my money saving tips. These are all of the things that I do to cut back on our household bills. New things, old things, things that I did ages ago which have worked really well for us, and brand new things that I wish I'd done sooner. So for my hair colour, I use Garnier Nutrice, and I use the colour Natural Baby Blonde, which is the one that has Holly Willoughby on the front of it. So at-home hair colouring feels quite scary the first time that you do it, but actually it's very straightforward. If you've ever done it yourself at home, you'll know. You feel a bit like a chemist at first because you have to mix one tube of stuff with another tube of stuff, but actually basically all you're doing is putting a very thick cream onto your hair and making sure that it's covered fully, leaving it on for 30 minutes and then just washing it off. Very simple. I wish I'd done it sooner, to be honest, the whole colouring my own hair. I think that we kind of get bogged down as women in like a routine with, particularly with beauty routines like hair and nail care and face and all that stuff, and we feel like if we change from that we won't be happy. Like, you know, whatever you say about appearance and like looks don't matter, but your own personal sort of body care and hair care, that can do a lot to make you feel confident and good about yourself. So it's quite hard. It was hard for me to make the change from having my hair highlighted, just mixing up the two different elements here to make the colour. It's quite a lot for me to go from doing something, having my hair highlighted, which I did for like, since I was 18, I've been having my hair highlighted, so long time, very long time. Best part of God, 15 years, yeah, over 15 years I've been having my hair highlighted, so it was quite a big deal for me to change. I'm just going to shake this and shake it for about 30 seconds. And then while I'm putting the dye on, this is a bit of a mental challenge for me because I'll be putting the dye on and I'm going to be talking to you about all of my money saving tips, so I hope I can manage it. Right, just got to put my gloves on. this is not stuff that you want to get on your skin. It is very, very irritating when you get it on your skin. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go at the back underneath, because the back got some really bad root growth going on back there. So I'm gonna start there. What I do is I put it on and leave it for about 25 minutes. It generally takes me about 5 or 10 minutes to get it all on. So while I'm doing this, let's talk about money. So when I decided that I was going to take redundancy from my job, it was May last year, May 2018. And I was like, right, this is an opportunity to get a payout and spend more time with the kids, particularly with Jessica starting school in 2019, get some very precious time with her, and maybe try and do some work from home. I have a blog, so this is my YouTube channel. I also have a website, and my website does make me a little bit of money. Doesn't make me a full-time income, but it makes me a little bit of money here and there. So I thought, you know, I can try and make a go of the blog. I can also do some freelance. I'm a journalist by trade, so I'm a trained journalist, trained ambulance chaser. Not really, I've never chased an ambulance. So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. But I was very aware, like, you know, look, I've gotta try and save money here and there. There's gotta be things that I can do to save a bit of money. And particularly this year, I found, like, when I left my job, I was like, oh, well, I've got my redundancy payment. And that was like a bit of a buffer, really, to the fear of not having regular income, because I had this big payoff. I'd been with the company quite a long time. But this year, I've been very, like, aware of my spending, like, very aware that I need to do some things to cut it back. So, although saving money on my hair is one thing, we needed to cut back more. Now, I would say our biggest, by far our biggest monthly expenditure, apart from our house and general, like, bills like electricity, gas, it's food. We spend an absolute fortune. Did you see that? Just went everywhere. Luckily it went on the box, on the floor. Whoops. We spend an absolute fortune on food. That's like our #1 biggest expense for us. So I have been trying to find ways for us to save on our grocery bill. So one of the big things I'm doing to save money on the grocery bill is I've cancelled our Sainsbury's delivery pass, which not only was an annual fee, but it also tied us to Sainsbury's. So we had to do all of our shopping with Sainsbury's because we'd already paid up front for this delivery pass. So it didn't make any sense to shop anywhere else. Sainsbury's is great, but it's not the cheapest. They do have good offers occasionally, but I wanted the freedom to do, say, like a big weekly shop that I split between Aldi and Tesco. We have a local Aldi, we also have a local Lidl. And what I've done is I've been trying out a lot of own brand products from these supermarkets. So own brand nappies from Tesco, own brand nappies from Aldi, own brand nappies from Lidl, the wipes as well from those own brand ranges. That has been a massive saving because I was using Pampers like ever since the kids were born, and I kind of just thought, like, oh, you know, like, they're better. They're not better, they're exactly the same as the supermarket ones. And I'll tell you about the price. The price is half. It is half the price. I cannot believe I've been paying full whack, like, you know, £10 for a pack of nappies that are Pampers, when I could have been paying £5 for basically exactly the same thing all this time. So it's crazy that I've been doing this all this time. So by liberating myself from Sainsbury's, I'm now hoping to buy a lot more supermarket own brand stuff. You know, some things I just prefer the branded goods. For example, Kellogg's cornflakes. I'm sorry, but I can taste the difference. I'm telling you, Lidl, Aldi, Tesco, your own brand cornflakes are not as good as Kellogg's cornflakes. Nothing is as good as Kellogg's cornflakes. It just doesn't taste the same. So I'm sticking with certain things, but, you know, like other things, like the nappies, like the wipes, I just haven't noticed any difference at all. It all does the same job. So I'm trying to do it with various other things like dishwasher capsules. I'm getting Tesco own brand dishwasher capsules, cleaning products wherever I can, you know, like rinse aid for the dishwasher and stuff like that. And I did try Tesco own brand bleach for the toilets. Not a big fan of that. I still think Domestos is by far the best. So I think it is a case of trial and error, because there's no point in buying supermarket own brand stuff if either it doesn't last as long or it's not as efficient at doing the job, you know? What is the point in that? And you've got to it's kind of a voyage of discovery in a way for yourself, where you've got to just find out what works best for you and your family in terms of the savings. But I would say do not be afraid of the supermarket own brand stuff, because oftentimes it's actually made in the same factory, which I like kind of blew my mind. Like the same manufacturer is making, like, you know, a branded product for a big brand, and then going out and making exactly the same product for a supermarket own range. Cut back on what we were spending on milk, for example. So the girls were having blue milk, like whole milk, and we were having green milk. But I was like, do you know what? They're over 2 now. They can have green milk. So we now just get the green milk, and I was getting Cravendale milk, and I now just get the supermarket own milk, because you can taste the difference, I'm not going to lie, but it's not a disaster of a difference, if that makes sense. It's like, it's still milk, it's still good. So now I get supermarket own brand milk. There are so many different products where you can just try the own brand, and seriously, I just so recommend doing that. I really, really do. So my hair colour is now on. I'm just trying to like stick it all up so it's out the way. Very nice. So that now needs to stay on for about 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to check the time. So while my hair colour is sort of setting and doing its thing, I've got enough time to talk to you about some more stuff I'm doing to save money. So another thing that we did is I looked at our TV package. Now I did this about 2 years ago, I think. So we were with Sky for a long time. I've always loved Sky. I used to really like some of the Sky original programming. We found some really good shows on there. True Detective, we used to love that. I'm never really a big fan of Game of Thrones, but there were various other Sky exclusives that I genuinely loved. However, in more recent years, when, you know, with the rise of Netflix and Netflix's own original programming, I was like, why are we paying over 20 quid a month for Sky TV when it's only £5.99 a month for Netflix, and they've got some amazing stuff on there? Like, there's loads of entertainment. And then I figured, you know, if there's ever a one-off series on Sky that we would love to watch, then we just buy it on iTunes or Amazon or something like that. We just buy it to download for, say, I don't know, £10 for the series. It's very, very rare that happens. In fact, it hasn't happened yet. So we haven't even had that as an expense. So I cancelled Sky, and they were very like, oh, please don't go. And I was like, sorry, I'm going. Goodbye, you're very expensive. And I haven't looked back. So look at your TV package. What have you got? Have you got Virgin? Have you got Sky? Do you really need it? Do you really, really need it? As I said, like Netflix, the entertainment on there, loads for kids, loads for grown-ups, and you've got Freeview anyway, so CBeebies and stuff. There's loads of channels already there for free. So I would really, really recommend having a look at that TV package and just seeing if that is something that you really, really like need. So another thing I've been doing to try and cut back on our household bills is meal planning, like trying to get really, really serious about meal planning. I find it quite tricky sometimes. Part of our issue is that we kind of get to a Friday, Saturday night and we're like, ooh, I fancy something different from what's on the meal plan. So we do allow ourselves to deviate from the meal plan occasionally, but what I make sure I do is that things aren't wasted. So I'm freezing things. With the vegetables, I'm trying to make sure that we use them up as much as possible. I'm trying to really cut back on waste with our meal plans, and I'm trying to plan meals that don't require oodles and noodles of ingredients so that we can save a little bit on money there. It's an evolving process. And I think sometimes we both get bored with our meal plans, so I'm always trying to look for really exciting dinners that are going to interest us but also please the girls. It is tricky. Some nights I end up doing a different meal for me than what I do for the kids, but in general we're cooking everything from scratch and I'm trying my best to please everyone. And you know, in overall we're not wasting very much food at all. I'm also trying to buy cheaper cuts of meat as well. So you know, lamb chops are great but they are so expensive, so I'm trying to use a bit more kind of less popular cuts. So say like if I do want lamb, then I'm buying like the much cheaper sort of like lamb neck fillets and things like that, which can be tougher, but if you slow cook them for a bit, then they're really, like, they come out really, really nice. Cheaper cuts of beef that need to be slow cooked. You know, I'm at home, so I've got the time to do this stuff. Obviously, if you don't have the time to do these things, then it's much, much harder, much more challenging to come up with like different meals and cheap meals that you can cook from scratch. But have a look online and see what's out there, because there are quite a lot of like ideas that can pull you out of a slump if you feel like you're a bit bored with like your regular meals that you're having. So by doing the meal planning, I'm also trying to cut back on the number of times I just nip to the shops for something, you know, because you know how like you just nip to the shops for something and you end up, you only needed one thing but you end up buying 10 things. Sometimes it's fine if those are things you genuinely need, but I often find that I'm getting sucked into offers and like I'll see a cleaning product and I'm like, oh, that looks good, it's on offer, I'll try that, but I didn't actually need it. So I'm trying not to visit the supermarket as often. So I get my weekly shop and then I'm trying to only have like 1 or 2 top-ups in between. It is working, I am getting much better, but it's tricky to be disciplined about it when, you know, I was so into a habit with it. And that's my next tip, your spending habits. So I think oftentimes we can get into a bit of a routine, a really bad routine of spending, where you're like, oh, right, I'm at a loose end, I'll go to the shops and pick this, that and the other up, and you come away from it and you kind of got all this stuff and you're like, but is it actually useful? Like, did I actually need it, or was I just buying it because I was bored and my routine when I'm bored is to go to the shops, you know? So changing your like spending attitude can be such an important thing as well. And I think in this day and age there are so many influences on us that make us think like we have to buy. So for example, the people that you might follow on Instagram, I follow people on Instagram who I love, like I'm not slating them at all, I'm not slating people for doing their thing, but there are people on Instagram who share a picture a day and in every picture they're wearing a different outfit, and I'm like, A, like they look amazing, but B, how are they affording to have a different outfit every day? And also you're kind of feeling this like pressure, like, you know, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of the big influencers, that they are selling clothes to you, and you feel this pressure to like be involved, be part of it. So get the must-have dress, get the must-have top, get the new must-have gadget, you know. And it's sometimes Instagram can be a really positive influence, but it can be really negative influence as well, because it's really pushing you towards buying. It has become such a commercial social network. So I would say if there is any Instagram profiles that you follow that just make you feel rubbish because, oh, I don't have that, or they push you towards buying things that you don't really need, try and unfollow them as much as you can. You know, advertising just bombards us from all angles now. Hit unfollow. Don't be sucked into buying things that you don't really need just because it's the new must-have item. If you see people wearing a different outfit every single day on social media, remember that you don't know how many of those outfits they're wearing once, having a picture in and then returning. Like, social media isn't necessarily real life. You don't know how much debt people are in from all the clothes that they're buying. Like, you do you, and you being you is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that. And that leads me on to emotional spending. Now, I have been so guilty of emotional spending in the past. You know, where you're like at a bit of a loose end. So I have like different ranges, different types of emotional spending for me. So it's either boredom, feeling really upset about something, and I need to, like, you know, cheer myself up with a treat. You know, I'm going to cheer myself up. And how do I cheer myself up? I blow £100 in 5 minutes on a quick online shop that I didn't really need for clothes. Like, it's so silly. Yeah, so boredom, feeling upset, or like feeling really under pressure to get something new, something special to wear for an event that's coming up, you know. So I kind of am not sometimes very good at just looking at what I've already got, because I've got some lovely clothes that have cost a lot of money, some of which, you know, none of them have only been worn once, but there's a few sort of formal dresses that haven't been worn that many times. And I think it's good to like remind yourself sometimes when you're in that emotional state of boredom, upset, or that pressure to like buy something new, try and remind yourself that you don't have to spend. Like, happiness isn't having things. Try and divert your attention to a different hobby other than shopping. Say reading, you know, you don't even have to spend money on the books, like amazing books down at the local library, or there's various swap services online that you can do to get new books. Reading, any kind of craft activity you can do that keeps you occupied and not on your smartphone. Shopping in the middle of the night. Smartphones make it so easy to overspend. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, I think emotional shopping is a big thing. Know what your triggers are and try and preempt them. Try and divert your attention to something more positive that isn't going to cost you money. And one of the biggest money saving tips I've done, or rather budget control things I've done, is just get it all down on paper. Literally everything, absolutely everything that I'm spending, right down to how often I'm taking the kids out for lunch in the week. Because, you know, it got to the point where I was like, well, you know, I just need to make sure I've always got stuff for sandwiches in, because sometimes I didn't have, you know, enough bread or cheese, whatever, to make a sandwich. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just buy them lunch out. But I'm much more disciplined with myself now about having snacks to take out with us, so that I'm not buying them when we're out and about. I make sure that I have myself like a refillable bottle of water from home, so that I'm not having to buy myself a drink when I'm out and about. So when you really analyse those little bits that you're spending on, you can often see things here and there. Well, like, actually, I don't need that. Like, well, I've had that subscription for ages, I don't need that. That gym membership, am I really going that often? Do I really need it? I haven't had a gym membership in years, but I'm just saying, like, that's an example of a subscription or membership that you might not need anymore. And another big thing that I've been doing is trying to downsize, declutter, and sell things wherever I can. So even if I can only make £10 here and there, that's £10 towards our grocery bill for the week. It's not an insignificant amount of money when it all adds up. I've been selling old clothes that I haven't worn for ages, some of the kids' toys that are worth a little bit more. Our old buggy I sold not too long ago. We had a double buggy. I've still got the single buggy, but I got rid of the double buggy. Anything here and there that I can sell, even just for a tenner or 20 quid, it all adds up. So declutter, you'll be surprised how much you can actually fetch for things online. And Facebook Marketplace is amazing because you don't get charged fees for advertising things, and you'll find that there are loads of local selling groups in your area where you can sell your old stuff to. My next money saving tip is to look for free stuff to do with your kids. There is so much free stuff out there, and like, we kind of all feel like the pressure, particularly over summer, I think, to like make it fun. Got to go to Legoland, got to go to the latest theme park. But actually, you know, do something simple, like set yourself a 50 park challenge over the next 2 months. So visit 50 new parks, you know, playgrounds that you haven't been to that are in your local area or the vicinity around you. Go to those. It's something new. You know, you could make a list and you and your kids could tick it off as you go. Find more free stuff to do like that. Local libraries are an amazing source of free entertainment. They'll have like story times and rhyme times, all sorts of things for all ages, from tiny babies right up to toddlers and preschoolers as well. In half term they'll have crafty events and things like that, and they'll all be free generally, or like they'll just be a minimal cost of like £1, £2, because they're council services and your council tax already pays for that. Okay guys, I really hope that this video gave you a few money saving tips. I'm sorry if I waffled on a bit. I feel like I waffled a bit because I was like all distracted doing my hair, but fingers crossed you found this useful, you found a few tips of your own. And please, I would really love it if you could share your favorite money saving tips. Is there a particular coupon site that you use that's really good? Is there somewhere where you go for vouchers? Do you use any of the cashback sites? Because I've never used any of the cashback sites. Are they any good? Do you find that they've made a really big difference for you? I would love to hear what you have to say about those kind of things. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye. Hey guys, I've just rinsed the colour out and dried it. So I just thought I'd show you. I'm always really happy with the results. I actually kind of prefer it to the highlights that I used to get, just because I found a shade that I really, really love. Obviously when the roots come through, it's always like a real pain, and it only seems to take like 6 weeks for the roots to come through, but you know, like that's just getting your hair coloured in general, isn't it? So yeah, just to show you, that took in total, from putting it on to rinsing it off and being back with you guys again, like 45 to 50 minutes. So super quick. £5.80 instead of £150. It's a saving that's worth having. Okay guys, so once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.